Hey Jack, I'm just going to show you everything you need for an install. We got razor knife, panel popper, you can use whatever one you want, wire strippers. This is in case you have any for your ground wire for your connector to crimp your connector. You probably won't need the snips, but it's good to have them around. Multimeter, you're going to need your GPS. Like I said, this is for your ground wire, so it can be grounded in. It's just a self-tapper. I have Velcro right here, and electrical tape. Like I said, that's all you should need for this. I'm going to pause videos and start, and I just want to kind of show you the process I use to figure out where the wires are, how to properly do them, and go from there. Like I said, it's a pretty easy step. It looks like a lot, seems like a lot, but it really isn't. So like I said, I'll go ahead and pause this, and then I'll show you how I would go about looking for wires and stuff like that. Okay, first things first, I have a Dodge Durango, but I've worked on these before, so I know where everything's at. But 99% of the time, you're going to be on these inside panels down here, on these cars, or on the inside panels over there, and I'll show you how you get into them. I know with the Toyota Corolla and the Camry, they do them under the hood, and I can kind of show you a quick overview of that, of where that would go and stuff. Like, I mean, we're not doing it on this vehicle, but like I said, the same process still applies to all this. If I can get this hood open. Like, you'd find fuse panel, you'd lift it up, and then obviously there would be your positive. And then you'd find going through one of these wirings and finding your accessory, which I'll explain all that later. And then you would find a spot to hide the GPS, which I have a Corolla up here I'll add into this video where we would do on that one, just so you can kind of see where that goes. But for this Durango, for this video, we're going to do it on the inside driver door. Most of your Dodges are going to be right inside here. I think the Grand Cherokee and Jeeps are going to be over there. Compasses, Cherokees, things like that are all going to be on the passenger side. Toyota Highlanders, 4Runners are all going to be on this side. But like I said, if you don't know the car, I'll show you how you would go about the process of looking for the wires and finding wires that you would need to do this. So first step, obviously, I'm going to act like this so I don't know this car. I'm going to check the driver's side first, because your steering column's here, your ignition's here, so everything should be on this side of the car most of the time. So what I'll do is I'll pop this panel off, which that's pretty straightforward and simple. Just kind of grab it, boom, it's off. Next thing you want to do is this inside panel towards the back. It's going to be covered up by this weather stripping, so you just kind of get your fingers under it, pull, wiggle, whatever you got to do. Get it up off the track. Oh, there we go. I pull it up just to get it out of the way of that panel, so that way it's out of your way. You don't have to worry about it. You can always just set it back to the side, because these panels will come out without that. Now, I look in here. Sometimes there's wires down in here. They'll show you that it's following up. With this, I already know that back here there's a little grab hole. That's how easy that one comes off. It comes off super easy. Hopefully I can get a light in here. There we go. Got a light going on now. So this one, these new ones, obviously I don't have. Let me see if I can turn this sideways a little bit. There's only this one single connector in this bundle up here. I don't see no big connectors that I can get into. I'm going to guess that there's no positives in this one. So we're going to go to the other side, see if we can find it over there. Alright, now we're on the passenger side. I'm going to go ahead and just take that off, the strip off, and the panel off, and then I'll start the video again. Alright, so now like I said, I got that lower panel, the stripping, and all that off. And as you can see, I got a nice big connector right here. I can already see this wire in the back is a dark red wire. More than likely, that's going to be your constant 12 volt power. I'm going to pull over. Oh, sorry, I dropped the video down on you. Like I said, this one back here, it's dark red. There's no lines on it. It's probably going to be your constant. So I'll show you how you test that, make sure that that's good. And then we'll start testing these other wires for your ignition wire. And then obviously a ground. I'll show you where we put that. Obviously you want to hide this, so we're going to have to pull this panel off. And it's going to be hid into the dash up here, and we'll probably ground from up here as well. So let me get my tools and stuff up, and then we'll go from there. Okay, so I have my multimeter here. Make sure your keys are in the car. Most of these are the keyless, so make sure it stays in the car. Right now I have the car off. There's nothing on, no ignition, nothing like that. And that's where you want to test your positive. Make sure on your multimeter you want it to be on DC. Right now it's not reading nothing. Now you got to find a good ground. You can do this one of a couple ways. You can, sorry for bouncing around so much. You can put it in like a crack where it shows metal on the inside, which I'm not going to be able to show that on the video, but I know there's bare metal inside that hole. So that gets me a good ground. And then you take your positive lead and just put it, let me see if I can get this in the video too. So you just put it right down in there, boom. Once it's in there, you'll see 12.8 volts. And then you keep everything the same. And this is how you're going to test it. You'll run through the ignition. So let me bring this up here. Sit up here for a minute. So we'll, oops, one of my things came out. Okay, so there we go. So we still got the 12 volts. And you'll watch it. So I turn it to the accessory. It's on to the run position. The next one you'll see is when it starts. Now you'll watch it. If this drops off, then I have to do this with one hand, which is kind of hard. If this drops off, it should only drop down to about 10 to 11 volts, but if it drops off completely, it's a bad positive. So drop down to 10, boom, and then go to an overload position, then go to anything else, and then you'll go up to, you'll see it's 14, 6, 8, 6, 9. That's the alternator pushing out that many volts. So you're good. Shut it off. Now we're back on the off position. We got 12 volts again. So that we know is a constant power for your red wire to connect to on your GPS. Now we have to test these other wires for ignition. So when we put these, let's just say we go to this one. Right there, we don't know if that has power. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to test this again, and this is kind of the monotonous part of it. Once you learn the one car, you'll learn them all. This ignition should only come on the run position and the start position. So there's accessory. I got 12 volts. I know it's bad. So it shouldn't come on an accessory. Now let's go to another one. Okay, there we go. We'll go to this front one, the very first one. And you see it says microvolts, MV on the side, 104, so that's no voltage, very little, so that's fine. You don't want it to show anything above 1 volt. If it shows above 1 volt, it's not good. You'll go to the next one. So let's test this one out. Let's go to accessory, nothing, run, boom. See, it went right up to the 12 volts. Now we'll do it on a start. If you see it drop out, if you see it cut off or anything like that, or go to an overload position with it runs, then it's no good. So I'm trying to get my one hand on this. Give me 1 second. Okay, so now I'm going to start the car. See how I did the same thing as a 12 volt. I shut the car off, boom, back to nothing. So that would give me a good ignition wire, which is the front one, front pink, and it looks like pink and green maybe, or pink and gray. It's like I don't know if you can tell the color on that or not, but like pink and gray, pink and green. So now I know that this back one, this red one, is my constant. This is my ignition. And then like I said, we'll do a ground wire. I'll show you how to pop this panel off. You use your panel popper. I'm going to pause it to go get my tools. Now that we know which wires we're going to use, we'll go from there. Okay, so I got my panel popper. I'm going to get this panel off. See, the reason panel poppers are plastics, they don't make toll marks on here. So I just put it in there, wait for that first pop, come down here, try to get it to pop again, go in somewhere else. There it goes. Alright. Make sure you get all your panels out. Like I said, these can be hard. That's why you have to move this sometimes. There. My panel's out. And you see there's a little bit of space back here. So, there's what we got. So what we'll do is, there's a little, let me turn the light on. There's a little flat spot in here. Right back there, right in front of that. This little shelf here. That's where you'll put your GPS up, where my finger's laying on right now. It's in, you'll see, it's just the back part of the glove box. So you'll put that there, and then you'll run your wires down through, and they'll come out through here, and then we'll wire them in here, and I'll show you how to do all that. And we'll ground probably right to there, because that'll go underneath the panel and the stripping. Okay, so I opened up the box. I pulled out the wiring that has this and the GPS. It always comes out with this extra serial number. We'll put that on the driver's door. That way we know we can scan when we go to add it to the program. I just put mine, oops, my hand's in the way now. Put mine right down there. And then that way we can scan off that, and the VIN numbers right here that you can scan off of. Now for the wiring. So we got that wire out, the one that has a fuse. We're going to cut right here. So we're going to take our snips. We can take the other ones too, the crimpers if you want, but just I'm trying to do this one-handed. It sucks. Boom, there's that. Get rid of this because it's already a fuse link where you have the power, so you don't need the fuse. Now it's time to fix all this stuff up so we can get it run right. If I can speak. I'm going to go ahead and pull probably about this much of that black sheeting off. So give me 1 minute and I'll get that pulled off with the strippers. As you can see, that wire is stripped. I pulled these wires back about that far because these are going to have to go down to the connector. This is going to be your ground up by the top. So it gives you room to move, but then the rest of that's all black. And we'll tie that up later. But right now that's what you want to do. Now we'll attach your ground connector to this black wire, so that way we have it already set up for when we go in the vehicle. Give me 1 minute and I'll get that done, and I'll show you how to do that. So I just strip the wire back. Now I'll twist it and then put it in the connector. Try to do this with one hand. I doubt I'll be able to, but yeah, you want to hold that out. Just hold it right there like that. So just twist this up so it tight wraps it. Fold it in half. Pinch it so it can fit through the connector. Put your little connector on. Push it where it's a little bit through. And then you'll see, I don't know if you can see it on this or not.
No, close, you can see it.
You see there's a slice right at the top. That's where you'll put, there's a little nipple on these connectors on the top. That's where you'll put that nipple at. You'll push it together. Boom, now it's sealed tight. Test it, pull on it. That's good. So that's how you put the ground on, and then I'll show you how to do a military splice for these two when we put the connectors in, get the wires in and all that. While you're sitting right here, obviously this says this side down, so what we'll do is we'll put our Velcro on one side now and have it sit there like that. That way when we put it in there, we can just push it straight down after the wires are connected. As you can see, I put the Velcro on there. I keep the paper on that side till I'm ready, because if not, it'll stick to everything. So I'm going to bring all this stuff over to the car and I'll show you how to go from there. As you can see, I laid out all the stuff I'm going to need for this install as of this point. So what we're going to do is we're going to take some of the electrical tape. We're going to tape the red and white wires up right at the end, so it's easier to feed them down through so they don't get caught up on stuff. So as you can see, I just taped the end of them up just to hold the two wires together. And what I'll do is I'll put it down through. You'll feed it down through until it comes out the bottom, and I'll show you what that looks like here in a minute. As you can see, I have the red and white one coming down. And then the ground wire, just kind of, you can just pull it right around there. And then, like I said, we'll attach it right here. And then this is your regular wire that connects into your GPS. And I'll show you how to put all that together here in a minute. So right now I'm going to put the ground wire in. I'm just going to drill it right underneath there. And then I'll show you what that looks like here at the end. Just take your, like I said, I just have a little Phillips head self-tapper and my drill. That's all I need. Okay, you can see I just have that. That'll be covered by this panel, and then you got the stripping in there, so no one's going to see this. And then I'll go ahead and show you how to get these wires out to where you can splice into them. You're going to have to take your razor blade and lightly cut up here. Expose a lot more of these wires so it gives a little bit more play, and then you'll be able to do that. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this and show you what that looks like here in a minute. Alright, you see I took that tape off from here up to here. It just lets these wires move. We know it's going to be this black back red one like I showed you earlier. That's your constant 12. So that way you can kind of just put your finger in there, move it up around. I got about 3 fingers in there. That's all I need for my splitter to, or my wire strippers to get in there and do that. So I put my wire strippers in there. Boom. Got wire strippers in there. And then what I'll do is I'll take the end of my multimeter and then I'll pierce the middle of this. Like I said, I showed you that before. Let me go ahead and pierce that real quick and I'll show you what it looks like when it's pierced. Alright, you can see I got a hole through there. That's where I'll take the red wire. The red wire on that, I'll strip that back, I'll put it through there. I'll show you what you do with that next. But only do this one first and then do your ignition. Always have the ground in first, no matter what. So we'll do this one, we'll get it taped up. Then we'll do this one, we'll get it taped up, and then we'll tape this whole bundle back up to make it look nice and neat. Okay, so I have this wire stripped. You can see about almost 2 fingers. That'll give me enough time, enough room to go in here, push that through, and then what we'll do is we'll spin it around. So it's through there, so we'll spin it around. There, that's done. And then what we'll do is we'll tape it up. We'll tape it up like that, so that way we don't have it folded down. So I'll throw some tape over that, and that'll be good. Give me 1 second, I'll throw tape over it, show you what it looks like when it's done. Okay, you can see there, I got both wires right there taped. And like I said, after we get this front one, we'll tape from here all the way up, and you won't even see that. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this wire out of here. There, that's gonna be easy to peel back and get that started too. So I'll show you what that looks like when it's the insulation's pulled back and then there's a hole in it, and then we'll put the other wire in. Okay, so you see I have that in there. I got the hole in the wire. Hopefully it focuses in so you can see it. There you go. Got the hole in the wire, so I'll go ahead and strip this white wire. I'll get it put in there, and then I'll show you what that looks like all buttoned up. Okay, so you see both of them, the wires are in just like before. Just put a hole in there, put the wire through, military spliced it. Gonna get all this bundled back together. I'll tape it up. I'll try to start below this electrical tape so it looks like it's stock until I get all the way up to there. And then it'll look stock coming in there. And then I'll show you what that looks like when I'm done with that. As you can see, backed all the way in black all the way up top. You can't see any wires hanging. Even if you look low, you don't see nothing spliced into. So now we're gonna go up here. We're gonna do the GPS install. Like I said, we'll go ahead and connect this up now. Now that all the wires are hooked up and the ground's hooked up, we'll get this connected, and then I'll show you where to put this. Alright, so what I did is I just took the excess wire, I just taped it together. I'm going to kind of put that down inside the dash. That way we can reuse it later when we need to. Now that that's inside there, that's down. We'll go ahead and take off this extra tape, or the back side of the tape on this Velcro. If I can do it with one hand. There we go. Like I I said, with under that sticker said this side down, so we'll make sure we put this side down. Put this in there. If I can get you, if I can get it in there where you can see. Give me 1 second. Okay, so you can see I put it in there underneath that connector inside there. So it's flat against there. It'll run. All the wires are hidden. And then we'll put it back together and we'll show you how it goes from there. Just to show you, I put that panel back on. You can't see that ground wire anywhere. So like I said, just with that panel alone, without the weather stripping, you can't see it. Alright, inside panel's back on. Everything's, weather stripping's back on. That's back on, so it looks back to being stock again. So now we'll bring it outside and put all that information from the door sticker on the other side and the VIN number, and then get it loaded up into Sarekon.